Hello,
Good
good
morning.
evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us in our conversation and our early childhood global spotlight series that we have been doing on Facebook Live. Dear friends, today we are glad to be joined by Ms. Beth Cannon from Texas, US. I thank you very much, Beth, for agreeing to join us on the spotlight series with us. Okay, so before we get started, I would like to give a small introduction to our audience so that they're aware of the work that you've been doing, Beth. Okay, so Beth, with her 25 plus years of diverse experience, is known for her niche in creating compelling content that captures the audience. In 1999, Beth launched Stretch and Grow, an international children's fitness franchisee, and quickly became the most successful affiliate in the world and took the reins as corporate trainer for new franchisees. She is also registered early education trainer. Through her relationship in faith and early childhood spaces, Beth was invited over and over to create and deliver strategies and solutions as keynote speaker and workshop presenter. Through her personal brand, Beth Cannon Speaks, Beth offers online courses for early education leaders and teachers, as well as live and virtual events. Her pandemic pivot has been to create a support community for faith based and non-profit schools and point them to valuable resources to survive during these tough times. She is an she is the appointed chairwoman of the Champion Child Advisory Board, author and developer of the Youth Fitness Instructor Certification Program, and the director of corporate training for Stretch and Grow International, the world's leading enrichment program provider for childcare centers throughout the world. Beth began teaching fitness classes right out of her high school and holds I repeat, six national recognized certifications in group fitness training. In addition to her many years in fitness and health industry, Beth holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Texas in Arlington and is certified by the state of Texas as a classroom teacher. Prior to her career, she has worked in private sector. She taught in the Arlington ISD for 5 years. She also serves on the women ministry leadership team in her church. I welcome Beth Cannon on this spotlight show.
Yeah, all of those words mean that I am not young anymore. That's a lot of years and a lot of things.
Right. Amazing to know. But because I was going through your website and the blog, and I see so much of information, so much of work that you've done for the community. I think it's incredible, and it's so nice to have you on our show, Beth.
I'm so glad to be
Beth,
here.
yeah, tell us something about yourself, Beth. So, what drives you, and how have you been? And tell us something about yourself.
Well, your intro said all of that. We call it the official blah blah. But I live in Dallas, Texas, with my husband of 25 years.
Yeah.
We've been business partners together in Stretch and Grow. I've done Stretch and Grow for about 22, and he came on with me about year 17. So it's been our family business where we've raised our kids, and my kids are 20 and 22. My daughter graduated from Baylor University. She's living in Waco, Texas, which is her college town, working, and my son is a junior at Baylor University. And so they are my why. And, even though they're grown and flown, they're still such a big part of our lives. And then, I've done the training, staff development, training groups, generally mostly women, no exclusion of our men in the community. But as you know, when working in education, at least here in my community, it's about 98% women. And so
Yes.
I've just really come to love them and just have a heart to help them, leading school directors, because I've worked with so many over the years. I see their challenges, and, there's so much information about how to teach, methodology, pedagogy, all of those things in education. Of course, those things are important, but my heartbeat is to help people be their personal best, to help them show up as their best selves. So teach leaders how to be great leaders and to turn the talent into performance for the people that they lead. So that's really my passion.
Fantastic. I think that's great to, in fact, empower, entrepreneurs, preschool owners, and teachers to excel in their field. I think that's something that best somebody with such an experience can offer. Okay, but you have a lot of experience engaging with preschool teachers and owners. Tell us what defines a positive culture or the overall positive environment in a preschool.
It starts from the top, Atul. It starts from the top. When the leader is healthy, when the leader is good, everyone is good. When the leader pursues personal development, everyone is going to pursue personal development. So it starts from the top, and it starts with that leader to just have a heart and a passion to pour into their team. I think that's key. You can't. I always say you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So you leaders, you early educator entrepreneurs, you've got to do all that you can to get access to the resources to help you develop as a leader, because your teachers are leaders, right? And I don't know that teachers sometimes see themselves as leaders. I think they see themselves as people who are in a classroom who love and want to teach children, but they don't necessarily see themselves as leaders, and they are leaders.
Right. I think perfect. What do you think, Beth? How is the overall environment? What is the importance of built environment
Of
in a successful preschool? Built environment, the quality of the spaces, and does it really make a difference, or it's only the people who make a difference according to you? What is your view on that?
Well, I think that if the people have a heart for what they're doing, the environment is going to come, right? You can't be a person of excellence and be okay with dirty, messy, fallen spaces, because when parents come in, that's the first impression, right? They see the space before they see the people, before they see the heart of the people. It's the heart of the people who are going to keep the retention. It's the heart of the people who are going to capture those families and capture those children, and they're going to want to stay. But I don't think that they're going to want to join you and to be there unless it is a warm and inviting and clean and safe space. I think right now in the times that we're in, it's so
Yes,
important for cleanliness, and for the parents to know that they're going to bring their kids to you, and their kids are going to be safe, that we're keeping them safe above all. And then after we keep them safe, then we're going to love and nurture them. And after we love and nurture them, then we're going to educate them.
absolutely. I think I completely agree with your thoughts that, it actually comes down from the leader. If you are, as an individual, passionate about choosing the right people, having a incredibly nice place, and doing up the place nicely, and you have an eye for detail. I
Yes.
really believe that you have an eye for detail, because a preschool, I think, must be like a temple. I will say that, where you actually pray. It has to be so clean and impeccable, because that's the place where you work, and children from other families will come. So it has to be the nicest place for people to come and feel comfortable and feel cozy. And yes, parents do come, and I think they want to have a look and feel of the place, and then only they will take admission to the place, and
Yes.
give you that first check to take admission in the school. So
Yes.
anyways, that's great. So what is the importance of having an excellent teachers or caregivers in defining a school brand in your neighborhood, according to you?
Well,
Is
I
it
feel
uh, is it the only thing? What is the importance of having a very, very good staff and caregivers? Does it really, can it be a big school and not have good teachers, still be successful? So what are your thoughts on
no.
staffing?
I don't know that in this case size necessarily matters as when it comes to quality. I think you can have a brilliant, beautiful, thriving preschool with 20 children. I mean, even in the US, home child care centers are very popular, where people invite children into
Yes.
their home. And we have centers that have 500 children with 200 teachers. So, it's what a family is going to choose. But there's something called the employer branding with Stretch and Grow. You mentioned my company, Stretch and Grow. It's been around for about 28 years. And last year, for me, it was my 20th year. We decided to go through a rebrand process. And I thought, okay, this is going to be logos and colors and pictures. And it was so much more. And that led us to doing a deep dive on what's called your employer brand. So what your employer brand is, it's the talent attraction strategy that you have to bring in the most qualified, talented teachers who are going to, as we say, jive with your culture. So when you look at your school, the teachers who are there, though, that is your brand. You and your Wow Kids, you have a certain brand that parents are going to come looking for that brand. And the teachers reflect that brand. So I've been doing a lot of staff development. This is, school's about to start here in the US. And so I've been going from my living room, doing Zoom trainings with staff. And and we talk about, let's go through your brand words. So, just brain dump. Here's an example that you might want to do just to take a look at your teachers. Brain dump for 60 seconds, all of the words that come to mind for your preschool. So maybe it's loving, nurturing, clean environment, educated teachers. Maybe it's Montessori. Maybe it's enrichment. All of those things. You get those words out, and then you talk about what are the qualities of teachers. Like if you had, in the US, we say A team, B team, C team, right? Your A team are your excellent, your B team are your above average, and your C team are your just average or not okay. This is what is true. Average people will never be excellent. And if you are striving for excellence in your school, in your center, your C team people will not take you there. Maybe there's another job for them in this world, but people who consistently are not, as we say, on brand, and if you say on brand, that means you show up on time. We say the 3 Ps: you plan, you prepare, and you perform. And of course, if you're faith-based, we say pray. But you've got to have teachers who are doing all 3 of those things consistently every day. Because if they're not planning and preparing and performing, the education is going to slack off. And as a result, the other people who you're shoulder to shoulder with aren't going to have the confidence that you're leading with brand excellence. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I think impeccable. Wonderful, to the point thought. One more thing I would want to know: what are the, top 3 attributes, or I will say qualities, that a employer or a preschool owner should see while hiring a teacher? Top 3 attributes. Is it the qualification or the number of degrees, I will say, that will make a difference, or the person herself or himself when they meet you? What is you've been experienced, so what is your thought on this?
I believe, Atul, it is number one, it's the heart for children. Anyone can get an education. There's 3 things, right? There's skills, there's knowledge, and there's talent. Anyone can get skills and knowledge. You can buy an education. You can buy an online course. Talent, yes, I believe, is a gift that you have, the gift of teaching. I believe teaching is a spiritual gift. So when I hire my teachers, I want to find out, like, one of my questions is, tell me a time you enjoyed a group of children. Because it doesn't matter if they have all the degrees in the world. If they don't truly enjoy children, they're not going to enjoy working for me. They're not going to enjoy working for you. And about October, after school's been going on a few weeks, they're going to hate their life if they really don't enjoy a group of children. So I feel if you can, when you're interviewing, get to the heart. Do they truly enjoy groups of children? Do they truly have the gift of teaching in them? Like, is there something in them that they will be relentless in having their lessons click, right? Are they relentless in wanting the children to learn and the things they need to teach them, But again, it's not just, letters and numbers and academics. It's teaching the social skills, right? It's teaching them
Absolutely.
to enjoy play. It's teaching them to be
Yes.
able to interact, to self-regulate their emotions. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily academics. And so when people know and understand those key things, I think that their education and even their experience is going to be third on the list. That's my opinion.
So wonderful. I think that I also copy the or think the same thoughts. One of the things that I would advise the preschool owners, which we do occasionally, and most of the cases because when you meet someone, a new teacher who has come and applied for a job, and maybe she brings a long list of past experience. One of the things that you can do is you can always ask her to be present for 3 days in the school. Just
Yes.
give them an opportunity, that observe how she how she loves children, how she embraces them, and how comfortable she feels in the assembly when there are so many children.
Yes.
So it is not the teacher's real, I will say, comfort. We are able to identify and see when there are number of children, say 20 children in a class at one point of time, or 15, not when there are 2 to 3 children in the class.
Right.
How she behaves, what is her body language, how she behaves, and how she interacts with that group together, does will really help the school owners to determine if she is a good resource or not. So
Right.
I
And I believe,
we yeah,
go ahead.
please go ahead. Yeah, I've finished.
Well, I believe that you need to have a very specific strategy for your talent attraction. It has to be very specific. For us, for example, we'll post out the ad and we'll do what we call a discovery meet. And of course, now it's on Zoom, because of the times. We do a discovery meet. And this is just kind of a face-to-face opportunity to ask some key culture building questions. And for me, it goes back to core values. I want to talk to them about the core values that we have, because the core values that we have may not resonate for them. So I'm a big believer in talking about what our core values are and finding out what the values of this particular person is. So that's the very first thing we do, is a discovery meet. Then, as you were describing being in the school, we call those discovery days. We want to see how they interact with the children. We want to give them a piece of a lesson and have them demonstrate the lesson. Mm-hmm. And then we call it a teach back. So you go in the classroom and then you teach back, and then you show me because you got to see them teach, right? You got to see them with the children. And I know now with COVID and there's different, restrictions and regulations, of course, throughout the world, but you want to see, can they, do they have the talent to lead? And you're not going to see that by just looking at a paper. And then as the owner or your leader or manager or whoever you have that's going to be in charge of them, they've got to see that heart and passion. And then I think that you have to, it's not just a one and done, it's not that you hire them. You have your talent attraction strategy. Then you have your motivation, development, and retention strategy. Are you constantly in the mode of developing your teachers? Are you giving them education? Are you providing workshops from them? Are you providing them valuable feedback? People need feedback.
Yes.
Or are you waiting until the end of the year to say, you're excellent, you're average, you're good? No, give them valuable feedback often.
No, that's very, very good thoughts that you shared with our viewers. So one very important thing that the preschool owners and everybody is watching would be very interested in, that what is the need of defining core values or brand identity before you start your school, because is it required? Does everybody have it? Is it mandatory? You can still start a preschool without having your core values, but since you've been training them and coaching the school owners and teachers, what is the importance of defining core values before starting? Does it, how does it help?
Think of building a home. You can't build unless you have a foundation, right? You can't just start putting up boards and blocks. You have to have the foundation. It is the foundation from which everything flows. And if you're not intentional about creating a culture, people come in and then their behaviors define who you are. And then all of a sudden you have this this business or this school, and you look around and you say, what has happened? And we've all been there, because, you've been in business a long time. I've been in business a long time. This is not information I had access to when I started my business. And so over the years, as we grew, and there were some years where we had explosive growth and we just hired and hired and hired. And then I would realize, like, wow, these people, they don't really, their core values don't really resonate with ours. And I can tell you, over the years, I have been, probably out of fear, which I'm sure, and all of us have been there. You don't want to let someone go because maybe the kids like them, or maybe the parents like them. But they have some key core weaknesses that don't resonate with your culture. And those weaknesses end up becoming a cancer, and it becomes a toxic environment, because you have people who aren't acting according to how you need them to act. Maybe they're calling into work, very, very often, and they're not present, or when they're present, they're gossipy or those kinds of things you can't have in your school. So I would say, be slower to hire when you can, and be quicker to fire. Have those feedback conversations often and say, you were hired to be here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 12, and I need you to be here. It seems like there's things in your life that are keeping you from being here. So let's have a discussion. Do we need to change your schedule? Or maybe this is not going to be a good fit for you, because I need you to start showing up, because your kids need you to be there, and your parents are noticing that you're not coming to work very often. That's just an example. So I think you've got to start with the foundation of maybe one of your core values. One of ours is, we team up for the kids. You can't team up for the kids if you don't show up to work, right? You can't team up for the kids if you're not prepared with your lesson. Absolutely. Or you're not prepared to help redirect their behaviors, right? I mean, that's a big part of teaching, is you're redirecting behaviors of children often. And, in the US, I think, and I'm just, sorry to my US friends, but, I trained globally for Stretch and Grow International. And very recently, I trained a couple from the Philippines, and they had precious 3-year-old twins. And we were talking in part of our training about classroom management. How do you handle and how do you redirect these behaviors? And she said, the children in the Philippines don't act like that. I thought, oh, well, that's great that the children in the Philippines don't act like that. But here in America, we have a lot of behaviors to redirect. The good news is there are tools and systems for, conscious discipline and helping with these things. But again, everyone has to be on the same page to address those behaviors. So coming up with your core values, letting that set your foundation, is so important.
Absolutely. So, how do you think, the teachers and caregivers should positively engage with children in a preschool? What are your thoughts about it? What is the way that, see, we are talking about thriving in preschool business. What should be your behavior? Because one thing is for sure, that children, even if they are not able to speak, because we take even 2.5-year-old, there are speech problem, but they observe everything. They communicate to their parents each and everything they observe. So how do you think that teachers and caregivers should engage with children? Some things, that top of the mind things that you can tell us.
Well, I think it's getting to know them. It's, true teachers, if they are the right person in the right seat, they're going to want to get to know and engage with this child. So, having age appropriate, developmentally appropriate activities, understanding how children learn. In most of this age, they're kinesthetic learners, right? They learn by moving. So keeping your kids active, keeping your kids physically fit, bringing those lessons to life, giving them, just finding that right amount of stimulus. Some environments are too overstimulating for children. Some children need more clean, clear environments. Some children need more direction than others. Some children need to be left alone so that they can explore. And so a teacher with a true heart will begin to understand and connect with each one of their children. And I think as owners, sometimes when you've got a great teacher, honor her, right? Give her the freedom to do what she can in that classroom to connect with those kids. Don't be so rigid with the lessons that you've given them. Oh, we need to teach them this, we need to teach them that. Sometimes there are, we all end up to the same point, but sometimes there are different routes. And so I think autonomy in the classroom, respect your teachers when they're good teachers and that they're producing results, that they are hitting your core values, and they're on brand for you, right? They're on brand for you. That is so important to give those teachers the autonomy, because when they feel like they have the freedom to thrive, they're going to thrive, but trust them to do that.
Absolutely. So amazing, I think. So viewers, you give them an opportunity to thrive, and then they will thrive. That's one of the very important factors in making a positive environment in your preschools. You have to give them a positive environment. You have to have your own moments of discussion, feedback, and give
Yes.
them all those opportunities. And I will use the word empower them to do their job perfectly well. You empower them. So, there are several things that we do in our preschools is that we have different teachers and we give them responsibility, that this is your responsibility is to take the infrastructure. So she is the one, anything that has to be got, we brought from the market, whatever, to cleanliness, she is the person who's responsible. Then we have another teacher. Now these are some extra roles that we have decided, that you are the teacher responsible for art and craft, so you are the person. Now that sense of responsibility and the freedom to execute, really makes them feel that they are valued, they are part of the school rather than just employees, I think. So
Yes.
that's very, very important, things to actually, how to empower teachers, in fact, and to make them positively engage with children. You have to first positively engage with your staff, your caregivers, as well as your teachers, I think. So very, very great things on this topic and talk. One more thing, that how, what do you suggest as preschool owners and teachers? What is the way we should engage with parents?
Well, I think that there are, now I don't know how it is in India, but in the US now, parents cannot come into the schools. They can only drop off the children, and they can't come into the schools because they're trying to limit the number of people who could possibly be exposed to the virus. I think finding systems, one that's very popular here, it's called Kangaroo Time, and it's a platform and there's many of them. There's Brightwell, Tadpole, ProCare, and you may have other ones that you use, but I think some sort of communication system is really important. It's that consistent communication that people want to see. So if you can't show them how you're loving and nurturing their children, then what about sending them pictures? Having an active social media platforms to where your parents are seeing this is what's going on in the classroom, communicating well, letting their parents know, hey, your child was able to identify this letter or identify this word, or we had a very successful, creative playtime, or here's the art and craft that they created for you. Just the importance of communication, because parents love to know that their children are being successful, right? Sometimes our worth is tied into what our kids are doing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it's a feeling, it's that feeling that the teacher took the time to not only invest in their child, but to share what their children are learning. And I think that parent communication and consistent, right? Consistent. And I would say, as preschool owners, make sure it's consistent across the board, because you have different teachers with different personalities. It doesn't mean they're not great teachers, but one of the things that I'm a big believer in psychometric tests, like the Enneagram. Are you familiar with the Enneagram?
No,
Okay, I will tell you.
not
In
exactly.
fact,
Not exactly.
I have a course on my website. It's bethcannonspeaks.com. It's called Dare
Okay.
to Be Self-Aware. And the Enneagram is a tool. I mean, it's thousands of years old. Like the roots date back to like 4 BC, I think. But the roots of it, it's that there are 9 different personalities. And so there are really 9 normals of how we look at the world. And it's just, and for me, it's a great tool to help understand what drives my teachers and what thrives them. Like, for example, I'm a 3. That means I'm an achiever. I want to be very productive. I want to appear productive. I love to get things done. I can be a good leader. I can be a very good producer. To whereas, there's a 9 that's a peacemaker,
Okay.
and then 2 helpers or teachers. They just want to help people, right? They want to help. They want to nurture. They don't like conflict. They don't want to face conflict. They're very, very good teachers. But my point is this: they see the world in very different ways. So they're
Yes.
solely focused on helping the child. It's not that they're bad people or that they don't think about the importance of communication. It's just not a priority for them, right? So for your
Yes.
people who are focused on those children, who may drive someone like me, who's an achiever, who said, hey, this is what we're supposed to do. Why aren't we doing these things? I need to go and figure out how to manage around that weakness and give them tools to be consistent. Because if you have one school, maybe a parent has 1 or 2 children, you need the teachers doing the same thing, right? So you need to, as the owner or the leader, to make sure that you have systems in place to help your teachers be successful. And don't get frustrated because they don't think like you. They're not the owner. They're just collecting a paycheck and they're doing what they love. So you
Yes.
have to learn to manage around what might be a perceived weakness, but honor the fact that the way they see the world is not the way you see the world, and help them to do the things they need to do to be successful in your environment.
Amazing. I think wonderful things that we got to know from you, Beth, today. So I think a lot of people joined. I'll just say hi to Preeti, Manjula, somebody from the Philippines also has joined us who are watching. Uh, Great, Beth. So, friends, we had some great thoughts on making your preschool kindergarten successful and having a right kind of environment, and how to actually empower teachers, the importance of good teachers in the business, the importance of the building a core values. I hope this webinar or discussion would be thought provoking. Please visit the site of Beth. I think her website is Beth Cannon Speaks, right?
Mhm.
Beth cannonspeaks.com. She has some very exciting courses to offer. Beth, you were talking about one of the courses that it's very popular, thriving in business. So can you just tell
Yes,
us a little bit about that?
it's called Survive to Thrive is what it's called. And so and we also have a free guide. It's like a free workbook that you can download free of charge. It's just bethcannonspeaks.com/survive to thrive. And you can go download that. And then we also have a course on our website. And then right now we have a special. It's only a $5 course, $5 US. It's 1 hour. You get a certificate immediately. And you can use the code RONA, RONA is the code that you can use to get 50% off of that. And so then it would just be for $5. And so either way, you can download that workbook. Also, to get that workbook, get it for free. And then do a course with your teachers, like do some staff development. It's a course to help them kind of survive these pandemic times right now so that they can thrive later. It's about setting their mindset toward the future and toward hope and toward success, because I think what people need right now is they need hope. It's hard in the preschools. We have not been operating since March, since spring break, and we are about to start back here in September. And so we've been back in the schools, and especially for those who've been doing pandemic care, they're tired right now. They've been doing the hard work, they're tired. And even for those who haven't been, in the schools, the children are coming back. And they've been and this is global, right? This is not just a thing in my community. It's your community. It's my community.
Everywhere. Same.
The whole world is in this space. And kids, who they've been taken care of? By their devices, right? They've had so much screen time because their parents are trying to work and so it's going to take a lot of energy for teachers to all of a sudden be this entertaining educator to get these kids captured. So if you are an early education leader right now, love on your team, listen to your team. I think the number one skill that leaders are going to need is empathy, listening to and understanding where they are, because guess what? If you take your prophet hat off, if you take your owner's hat off, you look at your human capital that you have, and you want to keep them, right? You've invested in them, you love them, they love those children. So honor them, listen to them, empathize with where they are, because I think if you can do that right now and understand them and listen to them, you're going to have fans for life.
Amazing. I think perfect way to end this live. Thank you so much, Beth, for your precious thoughts and time to you could share with our audience today. Friends, I hope you liked this show, and you could take some valuable advices from what Beth shared with us. Okay, so thank you so much for watching us live. May you all have a great day and happy weekend. Stay safe until we meet again. Thank you so much. Bye bye.